What's up, everybody? It's your boy Flash from ALWT Gaming, aka Malachi36. I'm here with It's the 9 Ball and Gravity Mark Dos. How are you guys doing today? Starting with Gravity Mark numero dos. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I am doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm a little tired. Been working pretty heavy recently, but I mean, you gotta make that living. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think I know what you could have to fix that problem.
Yeah.
We'll save that for later.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Actually, I tried to order mine. I tried to order my Raise Energy. I did try to order my Raise Energy, and I was having complications. So I think it's my PC. I don't think it's the site. Because
is this a record? I was gonna say, is that a record for a plug?
What? Just that?
just throwing the plug in like that early?
Right at the very beginning. I mean, it might be. It might be. You know, would we record if I was like, what up, it's your boy Flash from ALWT Gaming, a.k.a. Raise Energy. That would be the quickest. But enough about Raise Energy. What about you, 9 Ball? How you doing, man?
Same as you.
Same boat.
Trying to murder us. They tried to murder us at work.
Did they?
But we survived.
There you go.
One piece.
What's that? What was that from Tropic Thunder where Johnny... it wasn't Johnny Depp. Robert Downey Jr. It was Robert Downey Jr. when he's like, survive. Wasn't that movie? I think it was. That was my jam.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been too long.
Yeah. Well, guys, this is episode 30 of ALWT Things Gaming. And
30?
Yeah, episode 30.
30 of these?
Dirty 30. And on top of that, this is our first episode for 2021. So
we made it.
Yes, we
did it.
Yes, we did. A lot of exciting stuff that's going to be coming up over here. What up, S-Killed? Hello. How are you beautiful people doing? We're doing fan-freaking-tastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. So, today we got some gaming news that we're going to go ahead and throw out to you guys. Things you guys may have known about, things you guys may not have known about. Recently, one of ours, Barely Levu, had sent inside the group message. And this is not on the document, but he sent inside the group message a little clip of, actually, I just got a notification about it. Oh, it's a restock of PS5s. Hold on. I'm seeing what's up right here.
We got some breaking news here.
We might have some breaking news, actually.
Restocks.
Yeah,
Did you say restock?
Yeah.
Restock.
Oh, see? It's gonna be gone by the time we're done.
So not right now. Recent restock updates, January 2021. Check out PS5 inventory at Target, Walmart, GameStop, and more. Okay, so we'll have to see. So
at this point, I'm just gonna put on a mask and see if I can just see if they have like any units just lying around. Like that seems to be like the trend now. Like people have just stopped ordering online. And they're just going straight into the store to be like, "Hey, do you have this?" And they're like, "Well, we have like one or two." I think there was a video with like someone from Walmart was like, trying to like keep some.
Well, that's actually been the article for Xbox Series X's. Hasn't been for PS5s. Yeah, people are actually starting to see Xbox Series X's and S's in the store.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I already have the S, but
yeah. But that's been the store for that right now. But kind of going off before that, got interrupted by that little update that I just had on my PC. The Barely Levu had messaged out to us of a PS2 inspired PS5 that's going to be launching with, I think it was called Super. I can't remember what the group is called, but it's a third party. Yeah, it's a third party site. It is not official PS5 news, but it is something that's trending on IGN, on GameSpot, the whole nine.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
have you seen it?
It's all black. It's all black. Everything.
Look at it. The PlayStation button is like it's the old PlayStation logo. It's full of colors. It's not just flat gray. It is super gorgeous. But they are making a very limited quantity of these.
300 units. They only have 300 units, is what they confirmed. And
I'll be gone before you even stand up.
It probably will be. I'm hoping that since this is third party, I'm hoping that they kind of took a lesson from what's been going on and maybe do the captchas.
Dude, those are going to get those are gonna get flipped on eBay for like $5,000.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they do the recaptures, that might prevent those people from botting it out. You know what I mean? If they end up doing that, then maybe there's a way around that. But they're all black. It's PS2 inspired. It looks really beautiful. Another article came out today confirming that it's actually going to be this Friday is when those orders are going to be available on their site if you guys are trying to get your hands on one of those PS5s. Here's the kicker, because I went to the site to check it out to see if they had any news about it, and they do have some updates. But here's the kicker, is that the console itself is all black, it's beautiful, it's great. The controller, however, which honestly is pretty grand to the PS5 experience, that itself is something that they're opening up and doing whatever their modifications are. So if your controller
opening,
let me just go to the actual thing, because
that sounds kind of dubious there.
Yeah, it was something that made me. Yeah, it's with the DualSense, and so with that being said, it doesn't fall under warranty because of that. Yeah, so meaning if your controller ends up breaking for God knows for whatever reason, and you try to have Sony fix it, it's not under their warranty anymore.
You know what? And I hate saying this. I really hate saying this because I'm always a fan of people who, especially fans who want to go out of their way to do really cool projects like this. I'm always in support of really great designs like this, but truth be told, I feel like I would rather wait until maybe another year or so, to the point when everyone has their hands on the PlayStation 5, and then you start seeing all of these third-party companies who are then making these controllers in just the shells, ready to ship out. Because
I don't know how they used to go though.
Yeah, because I will say this: as soon as I get my hands on my PlayStation 5, and as soon as the market opens up for third-party shells, custom shells, where they can just be like, hey, here's a really cool Star Wars themed shell, or here's a really cool Kingdom Hearts themed shell, or Final Fantasy, or Resident Evil. I'm gonna get those. That to me, and if Nintendo, which I think Sony is trying to be really strict about that, because I feel like they might be trying to get a market for that. And if they do, great, please, Sony, I want that. But if you don't do it and then someone else over here does, I'm going to them.
Right.
Because I want to be able to customize my console.
Well,
I can customize it to look like that.
But here's the thing, though, with that, is that I'm looking at the article right now. I have it pulled open. I went to the actual site. They're called Super 5, but E inside Super's with a 3. And it's retro-inspired PS5 console. It's not your $499.99 plus tax. It is starting off at $649. Yeah, so that's one. Production is limited to their 304 units. Includes retro-inspired console and controller. Colorized logo inserted. Ships late spring 2021. So you're not even going to get it immediately. It's just going to be late spring 2021. And on here it says, here's a disclaimer: the retro-inspired conversion process requires a complete disassembly of the DualSense controller. And it has in the underline, it says this will void DualSense hardware warranty provided from Sony. Do not purchase this product if you're expecting a warranty support for your DualSense controller from Sony. Your console, however, will not be disassembled as part of the conversion process. The side panels will be temporarily removed as part of the conversion process. So the actual process, it's really just the white part that's on the PS5 that's being altered. That's really it. And then the controller, they are disassembling so that way they can put their certain buttons in there and all that good stuff. Chances are it'll be fine if these guys are professionals. But at the same time, if it breaks, if there's anything wrong with the DualSense, you can't contact Sony concerning your issue. That's what that's
Somebody
saying.
has their name as Supra with a 3. That's like trusting Reggie the crackhead with it.
It's actual company. It looks. They look legit. they look actually legit. It actually looks like a cool logo. It's Super 5.
It looks a lot. It all looks super legit. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen the teardown videos of the DualSense at all. I've seen a couple teardown
of them.
Yeah, I've seen a couple teardown because as soon as you said that they had to disassemble that whole controller, I was like, what are they doing? But then I was like, oh well, a lot of those face buttons, especially the home button, a lot of those buttons are hidden behind they're just as soon as you pop the back of it open, they're just buried underneath pretty much all of the hardware inside. So they kind of, in order for them to have to get to those buttons, they have to tear everything out.
Yeah. And that's kind of what they're doing. Real fast, in here, S-Guild says, where's the guy with the glasses? That is Mildewy Carrot. He has current obligations.
What are you talking about?
Yes. So he will not be on today's stream. But he will be with us in spirit, of course, and possibly on the next ALWT Things Gaming next Tuesday. So we will have to see. So that's where he is currently at. So you just have me. It's the 9 Mark 2. Yeah, you just have us today. But yeah, so that was that. So that was actually out today. But my speculation, and this might even be backed up by the news that just dropped on GameSpot. My speculation about it, because I went ahead and sent it out again today, that this was all going down. I wonder if Walmart and Target and all of them are going to take that opportunity, that this big news that's happening with Super 5. I'm wondering if they're going to take that opportunity and send out any more units that they might have on their sites, because that might alleviate some of those eyes to go, even though there's only 304 units. That might alleviate some of those eyes from their website, and they can actually stay on the website for a minute and a half. You know what I mean? So
I hate saying this. I'm sorry, I hate saying this, but like the whole situation sucks. Just like, especially for those who are immunocompromised with everything going on, because like you can't, because like I personally would love for there to be a decent amount of units available in stores, so that way you don't have, because they basically just keep doing the same thing. They're just like, oh, here, we're just going to put more units up there, and they're gone. It's just like, you can't, like, it's almost like they're just beating a dead horse at this point, where they're just like, oh, here, let's just try the same thing and see if something different. Oh, nope, they're all gone. Like, and it's just one of those frustrating things. Like, for me, I personally am not immunocompromised, and so I'm just like, oh, cool, I could just go out to a store and pick it up. But for all of those people who are immunocompromised, that's not even an option for them.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sucks. But at the very least, I'm glad that I can actually kind of experience that with them, just to say, hey, you're not alone in this. You're not the only one in this boat who wasn't able to get their hands on this early. And in Malachi was just super lucky with this.
I was persistent, man.
You were persistent. I gave up. I said, you know what? It's out. I missed it. You kept hitting refresh, and you were able to get it. So
yeah.
With that said, like Malachi said, hopefully they will get more units in. Hopefully, maybe with the vaccine, we can try to get things moving back to normal. But I still think it's going to take like a year plus to get back to normal.
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, but it's frustrating, because you want to try to find a solution for this, to try to get this console in as many people's hands as possible, so that way we can all be playing this as a community. But there's just so many things that pop up that you're just like, yeah, I mean, you can't compromise people's safety for it. And if I have to wait however long I have to wait to make sure that they're making enough units safely and they're distributing them safely, I'm fine with that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So that was just a little tidbit that's out there. But now on over to the gaming news portion of it. We got 4 stories for you guys today. Opening up with another point of view. And I say that because Jeremy Winslow from GameSpot says, while Cyberpunk 2077 does feature a third-person camera, and this is mainly talk about driving vehicles, unless players are glitch the game. However, I'm mad that he put that in there right there. But anyway, however, a new PC mod looks to fully convert developer CD Projekt Red's first-person RPG into a third-person RPG. The mode available. The mod available on Nexus Mods and uploaded by Sarah Nama is in work in progress. It does exactly what it says. It pushes the camera behind the characters so players can get a wider view of Cyberpunk 2077 from third-person perspective. However, in order for players to get access to the third-person plugin, they must download 2 mods, TPP mod itself and the prerequisite mod Cyber Engine Tweaks, which is also downloadable from the Nexus.
Yeah, mods. It's like an SKSC.
Yeah.
A script extender.
So there you go. That was something that, and I mean, honestly, I don't mind it in the first person view. It kind of feels like you're actually more in the game versus your typical RPGs like the whole GTA type. Even though that's not really RPG, but more of again like the GTA types where you're behind your character and everything like that. I kind of like the first person view. Or I don't want to say I kind of like it because I prefer third person. Ghost of Tsushima all day, every day. But I think the first person is more immersive, and I grew accustomed to the first person. I think it's kind of cool that you could do that third person mod if you wanted to, and I probably would have done that at the very beginning of this stage. It is on PC, and I'm not usually one for PC mods, as you guys already know, but that one does sound pretty cool. The master of mods right below me is the 9-ball. What does this do for you? What thoughts do you have about this?
Looking at it now.
All right. Are you downloading it now?
Download it a bit later.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is the tweak is basically fixing the AM. Looks like an AMD thing. They've been having problems on here for a while, and Cyberpunk's been receiving a lot of support from mods. And that's usually what would happen if a game falls underneath. Yeah, Bethesda knows that. But the amount of stuff, that's the reason why Bethesda has so many mods. Their games will be glitchy. Generally, the modding community will fix it. As for the mod itself, I think it's going to be great. The amount of stuff I've seen modders do, I mean, they added Skyrim. They've added like 2 new islands to Skyrim, like Worm's Tooth. They redid the cutting room floor, which they added all the stuff that they removed back to Skyrim. They put that you can do like a Dark Souls version of Skyrim if you want to. There's a Walking Dead version. There's one to which there's no load times in Skyrim. This guy he actually moved the load time. So when the doors open, they just open. You can just walk straight on through. So the modding community can do a lot. And if you get like them to work together, probably what they're doing with Cyberpunk, this is going to be something incredible. I will be trying it out. So, especially since I put it on the NVMe, I already got mine on my NVMe drive, so it shouldn't have any problems there. And hopefully it's not too glitchy, but I doubt it will be. I mean, they even went as far as to take Skyrim add a combat mod, so you can actually bleed out after combat if you're not careful. And God, they had Bruma, which was another add-on, and also even a online Skyrim, which they was working on. So I'm enthused. I might be more excited about that than Cyberpunk now.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. What about you there, Gravity? What were your thoughts?
Now, I sent this image to you guys.
I see it. Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, so that image was something that I saw from somewhere else. But like as soon as you said like third person view, I was like, oh, thank goodness. So that way you're not going to get glitches like this where you get in the car and you start to drive and you're just seeing like behind your character's eyes. Like those like it is basically just an image of your character just if you're just driving around inside your car, but like you can see your hands on the steering wheel, but you also see like your eyes just floating in front of you, just looking around at stuff. And like you were saying about Ghost of Tsushima, I like third person games. I'm not like I don't hate first person games. They are fun to play, especially if you get some like VR controls on those. Those are really fun. But for me, like especially if you're gonna like go through the hassle of customizing a character to look a certain way, you're going to want to look at that character.
Exactly.
You're going to want to look at it instead of just pausing the game to like pull up your menu and just be like, yeah, that's my boy. Look at that jacket. He's got the pants.
In Cyberpunk, you got to find a mirror too.
Yeah, that was it. Like if you're looking inside the mirror, yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I agree.
Yeah, no, like a third person view, like I feel like this game should have come with the third person view option just automatically. That should have just automatically been an option. But the more I'm seeing of Cyberpunk and the more news I'm hearing of it, the more I'm just like, this game wasn't done.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I also
because like I already had the opinion that it should have been at least a year after this just to finish.
Mm-hmm.
But quite honestly, I'm looking at all the stuff that's going wrong with it, and I'm like, could they solve that in a year? I mean, it took them 8 just to get to this. Like, could they solve all of these issues in a year?
I think they could have. I think they really could have, and I honestly think they probably could have got it by May of this year. I think that they could have done that, but especially, and I say that assuming that yes, COVID currently on the final touches may have actually contributed some. I'm not gonna say all because this game's been in development way before COVID, but I'm just saying in general, I think it may have, as far as the final touches, I think that could have affected it, and also maybe had the CEOs and all that good stuff panic at towards the end portion of it, because they've already pushed it back like 3 or 4 times. But I think though that now that towards the middle portion of 2020, the community, like you have your Chipotles, you have your Walmarts, you have your banks, they're figuring out ways to still be productive during this crisis. And that's what I think that because even for PlayStation, like take that for example, like Xbox found a way, it was a very home basic type of way to do their launch at the very beginning of the year. It didn't look professionally done, seeing everyone in their living rooms and stuff. And then PlayStation saw that and learned from that, so that way, fast forwarding to their event that they had in June, it was absolutely killer and stellar. Had everyone behind a black background, looked like that they were in like it looked like they did that on purpose. Like if I saw that video, and I agree with Greg Miller when he says this from Kind of Funny Games. By the way, shout out to them. Make sure you guys are following them if you guys are not. Kind of Funny Games are great. But if I saw that video that happened this past June for the PlayStation event, if I saw that 2 years ago, I would have never thought that was during a pandemic scenario. I would have just been like, wow, that's an interesting take to have everything in a black background and from various different locations. Never would have, in a million years would I have thought that was a pandemic scenario. So I just think that was. Go ahead.
No, I thought. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you was done. I think it was this problem, and this is a problem I've seen before, and this is what I was scared of. You remember 1 week you mentioned Duke Nukem Forever?
Yeah. Most certainly. The best game out there.
Yeah. This is development hell. Sometimes a game gets stuck too long. And this is where you can have another problem. Because it's transitioning between 2 or 3 consoles. Where this one started out. What console? It started out 2012. It started on this generation.
Was it really the tail end of PlayStation 3?
Yep. That's at least when the idea was kind of brought. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where you hit a problem, because now you're between this one, then you hit that console, now you're jumping to the 5.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I'm glad. I mean, my Final Fantasy 15 isn't perfect. They just scrapped 13 verses, because if you leave those go too long, you end up with a game like Duke Nukem, where it gets stuck too long somewhere, and it's trying to incorporate 3 generations into one, and it's just a big mess. I feel like at the end they just said we gotta release something. I believe it wasn't just the higher up; it probably was the stockholders too.
For a Cyberpunk?
It may have been some stock.
Heck no! That was 100% the president's. Those 4
it was the president. I'm gonna say it's the president. Yeah, it was them too. But it was a lot of
shareholders,
and stuff like that.
I feel like it was a lot of the shareholders, because that seems to be a theme with really big companies, is that they really go off of whatever the shareholders want, and for obvious reasons, they're giving them money to do this.
Right.
And like I've said in the past, like the marketing and advertising for this game this past year alone was everywhere. Like you could not escape the Cyberpunk's ads. Even it was like they would slip it into YouTube ads. They'd slip it. I've seen a few on like Twitch. I've seen
Kaja State had an ad for it.
Yeah.
Which is an educational site.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, like it was everywhere. And I
You,
feel like
you even saw it on the Grounded preview. They said if you're waiting for the big next game, wait for Cyberpunk 2077. But if you want something else right now, you have Grounded. Like that was on one of the Grounded games.
What? You know what? I will say this for Grounded. They at least launched a preview of the game.
Yeah.
And that was like a pretty solid preview too.
It was fun.
Like I feel like had Cyberpunk done maybe a soft launch, and maybe just said, or maybe at the bare minimum, like done something to like release part of the game, just to like work out some of the kinks. Maybe something along those lines. But you know what I think really happened? They had someone during crunch time just sit like this, just I
accidentally hit launch.
Yeah, no, I think they hit their head on the delete key and it just deleted a whole bunch of code. They're just like, oh, maybe they won't notice.
Now here's one of the things. Well, first off, S-Killed says, can I ask you guys a question? Shoot, yeah, you can ask your question. It might take us a minute to get to it because we do have some gaming news that we're going to be getting through, but you're free to ask your questions, and we'll try to get to it as quickly as we can if we are able to get to it. But back to you. I agree with you. I think if they did a soft launch, that would have been a little bit better. I think if they had communicated that a little bit, that would have been better. Here and I even agree with you guys as far as that the shareholders applied pressure. But here's the reason why I don't think that any of that would have worked. The presidents knew the state of the game. They knew how damaging that could look after you just spend 8+ years making this game, and then you're going to have this particular game on out here. And soft launch, even if it's a soft launch, it's going to get ran through the ruck. They want to make sure that this thing launches with the best sales possible. They want to make sure it gets the best experience possible, even though it wasn't going to give the best experience possible. The presidents were after on the money. The shareholders itself, they're applying pressure because they see the marketing. They see the hype. They don't see the game. They only see one thing. So they're applying pressure. They're like, what the heck are you guys waiting for? Yeah. They're like, what the heck are you waiting for? You said at the beginning of January that this game is running surprisingly well on PS4. That was a lie. Where did that come from? From the presidents. The presidents set this whole thing up for failure because they are money hungry. Yes, the stockholders had a portion in it. They had a small hand on it because they did not know. The developers, completely innocent, they tried to do the best that they can. Maybe there's some things that's behind closed doors that we don't know that developers could have done better on. Making video games is hard. Yeah, they were pissed. They were pissed. And that would happen inside of one of the board meetings that happened hours before Sony took the whole game off of their Sony network.
Like, have you ever tried to like draw a picture of someone and then have that person like try to look at that picture like before you're done? You're like, stop it, it's not done yet.
Exactly.
That's like that has to be like that feeling magnetized by like a million.
Real fast.
Play it. It's not done yet.
Real fast. I want. We're gonna save this question for the end of the show, because Eska, I'm gonna ask the question, but it's the 9-ball. I want you to answer it. I want you to answer the question mainly because I think out of the 3 that's in here right now, you probably have the most knowledge about it. I have a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know Gravity has some knowledge about it too as well, but I think you probably have the most knowledge. The question here from S-Guild is, so do any of you guys have PC, like know about the PCs and stuff like that, like specs? Because I'm thinking about buying a PC stuff at some point, but I have no clue on where to buy stuff and what I like to get. Ultimately, here's the one tip I will say. And then we'll save this question at the end, and we'll just have It's the 9-ball, just give you a full rundown on PC specs and everything like that. Ultimately, it's what you're trying to do. If you want to get a gaming PC, there's going to be certain specs that you want to make sure you have. You don't want to get specs from 2015 because they're about to go out of extinct here really soon. You want to go ahead and get more of the you want to make sure that you're getting specs that will be able to hold at least the Cyberpunk 2077 as it was intended to be, at least something that can run League of Legends if that's what you're trying to do. You want to make it's depending on what you're doing, because certain games are evolving in a very fast-paced. Technology's coming out every year, almost a monthly basis on some cases. It really just depends on what you're trying to do, and if you're looking for specifics, and if you want to throw inside those specifics inside your the chat, you can say what games that looks interesting that you want to do. If you want to do streaming, that's a whole different setup. If you want to do just podcasting, that's a whole different setup. If you want to just use it for work, you really don't need that much. But if you're trying to do gaming stuff, yeah, we got you covered. And when I say we, I mean it's the 9-ball corner pocket. He got you covered, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
But can it run Crisis?
Yes.
So when I was talking about Cyberpunk.
What? You're cutting out. You're cutting out. Can you repeat that?
I said when I was talking about Cyberpunk, it really went back to last year, and it sounds almost exactly like Anthem. I mean, were they sharing people in the boardroom or something?
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, Anthem did the same thing. They was in development for what, 6-7 years.
Hey, they changed it.
I don't think they were in development that long. I don't know if it was that long.
They started after Mass Effect 3.
Let me see.
That's why Mass Effect 3 pulled.
Okay, cool. I was about to check myself. I was about to say I don't think I knew the. Go ahead.
Let me see, because they had a big news on that on Polygon.
It was about 7 years.
It was 7 years. I was about to say, because I know the biggest issue was that they took all of their main people off this project for Mass Effect and put them on a brand new project, which was Anthem.
Yeah, and it had been in development for God knows how long, about 6-7 years. And
I mean,
I don't know what
happened. Really that much better than Anthem, though?
Well,
I played Anthem, and Anthem wasn't that bad. Like,
I would say actually, actually, Cyberpunk's worse than Anthem.
No, I agree.
Cyberpunk knowingly did what they did on purpose, and it really betrayed the gaming community because everybody held them in such a high standard. Like I told people before, even pirates, like people that pirate games, was buying CD Projekt Red's games because they had them in such high regard because they always talked about how they stood for the consumer. They're the ones that stood against digital, but they was putting like Diablo and stuff like that. Those they stood for DRMs, digital rights media, because they were standing for the people instead of putting all that stuff in there so you couldn't have your digital rights and it wouldn't be yours. They was making them so you can be yours permanently. And it's how they stood against that, how they always stood for the people, how they wouldn't have to do the people. The Witcher came out. The Witcher was excellent. The Witcher had huge amount of stuff for it and also a bunch of free DLC. So really that's the reason why people went in there with CD Projekt Red like they did, because they had held them in such a high regard. And then to do something like that, you really burnt a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
With Anthem, it was almost, from what I heard from Anthem, it was like their board, they was just in chaos for the first few years. And until the EA exec finally came in that room and seen that they did virtually nothing for 4 to 5 years, they were like, I gotta get something. We need something. Then they got them back on track and they rushed something up.
Yeah. One of the things too, as well, to your point on that. So when Anthem launched, I think it was like in March. When Anthem launched, because I was about to get it at launch, not this past March, the year before that, 2019. When Anthem had launched, it was the biggest issues that people had were the load times and the end game content. And then during that time period, there were some consoles that were actually breaking because of the game. Yeah, that
eating them.
Yeah, it was running too much power through it. As far as the actual gameplay, there wasn't any issues. There weren't any glitches or anything like that. But the loading was ridiculous. The end game content was non-existent, and then the crashes were just horrible. And it just had a really terrible launch on that aspect. They didn't really do anything that deceived the consumers because people still had their reservations about it. CD Projekt Red, for the whole year of 2020, all the way until the game launched, deceived the consumer. They deceived the reviewers. They gave them PC codes only. I will say that. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt here. I just wanted to insert this quick thing. Yeah. I mean, like, the fact that they had to release a statement apologizing for, like doing that, Like, I mean, like that's kind of an admission of guilt there, where they're just like, "Oh, sorry, we made our game look better than it really was." Like you know what? Props to them for actually admitting it and apologizing for it. Like I like that they did that, but still, that also does show that like they knew what they were doing.
Right.
Just that was them trying to clean up the mess. They knew what they did was incredibly scummy. Let's just put it like that. It was when PlayStation takes you down. When somebody put this into perspective, I was watching an interview about that. Fallout 76 was a train wreck, and they didn't even pull that one. No Man's Sky came out, was a train wreck. They didn't even pull that game.
Anthem.
For you to get pulled from PlayStation during the holiday season, mind you,
Yeah.
when everybody wanted it,
Yeah.
you done did something.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not an
But
accident.
but to be fair, even if I think the number one reason why PlayStation pulled it is because they were backed into a corner by CD Projekt Red and their statement that they made without confirming with Microsoft and with Sony. They said if you're having issues with the game and are looking for a refund, reach out to PlayStation's customer service, reach out to Microsoft customer service, reach out to Steam, and they didn't speak with a single person. They just said reach out to them.
2 hours. You have to play less than 2 hours before you can return it.
For a PlayStation, that's not even a thing. If you do even a minute of gameplay, you turn on the game, it's yours. No refunds. If it's a digital edition, it's yours. No refund, period. Which is fine.
Ironic.
And honestly, it's fair. It really is. But at the same time, like, CD Projekt Red had did that. And on top of that, they admitted that they did not pass cert. That is imperative for people with seizures, with epilepsy. That is imperative. And you skipped that. You skipped that. And you admitted to that. They skipped it. They didn't do it.
Just go down the checklist of like seizures.
Yeah. They skipped that. That is not good.
What is this, 1990s Pokemon? Nah, we're good.
Yeah, that is not good at all. They skipped one of the critical things for the consumer.
Terrible.
Yeah, that warning that says you be warned that these might cause seizures or whatever. That whole thing, that whole process, they completely skipped it.
Yeah, they put that in later.
Yeah, and that's not. Yeah, that they messed up big because here's the thing. That's not the third party. That's not the news for the third parties to announce. That is up to Sony was supposed to be doing the cert. Microsoft is supposed to be doing the cert. Nintendo's supposed to be doing the cert. Epic Games, they're supposed to be doing the cert if it's on their platform. Steam is supposed to be doing the cert if it's on their platform. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Not the developer. You never hear Naughty Dog saying, "Oh, we skipped cert, by the way." No, that doesn't work like that. So, but yeah, enough with that. Enough with that. Story number 2, Ragnarok. The end is nigh. On here, we're going to go ahead and take this on over to you, Gravity Mark, if you want to go ahead and do some reading.
Heck yeah, my man. Let me just get this in a size that I can read because I can definitely read. All right, yeah, going back to Ragnarok. Let's see, Alessandro. Let's see.
Ooh, nice little accent there.
Yeah, Alessandro Fiari from GameSpot, quoting 2018's God of War was a fantastic reboot of the over-the-top and grandiose action-adventure series starring the fallen demigod Kratos. And developer Sony Santa Monica Studios plan to release the follow-up sometime next year. Yeah. Now, wait, did this article come out sometime this year, or did it come out last year?
It was. Well, I think the article itself was made last year, technically.
Oh, okay.
And I think they even talk about stuff down here at the bottom where it says 2021.
Oh, well, then I will continue reading that. Yep. Revealed during Sony's June PlayStation 5 reveal event, the next game will see the return of Kratos and Atreus. Please excuse me if I mispronounce his name. I didn't play enough of the game.
It's the son. It's the son.
Yeah. As they explore... Boy. Yeah, as they explore more of the ancient Norse realms and encounter more powerful gods looking for retribution. Though details are scarce about the sequel's plot, it's fair to say that Kratos and his son Atreus will have new enemies to face as Ragnarok approaches. Towards the end of the original game, both demigods have a brief encounter with the hammer-wielding god of thunder Thor, and it looks as though it won't be a peaceful meeting. In the reveal trailer shown off in June 2020, we saw a brief look at the logo for the next game, along with a voiceover from Kratos saying the words, "You must prepare yourself," that we over here at ALWT Gaming apparently completely missed. Let's see. And then it will presumably be focused entirely on the Norse gods. The original Greek mythology from the trilogy only made a small cameo appearance in the 2018 game. One of the most surprising details to come from the reveal trailer was planned to release in 2021. The next God of War game was poised to be one of PlayStation 5's early heavy hitters. However, the shifting changes resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a possibility that 2021 may not be a sure thing. We'll be sure to update this when more details come, as will we. So thank you, GameSpot.
Yes. I actually want to throw it out to you. Real first and foremost, Gamer's Life. Shout out to you. What up? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat. We're just going over some gaming news. Wanted to go ahead and the first thing we just talked about right now was another point of view, which was the third person mod that's going to be inside Cyberpunk 2077. I think it's out right now. Now we're talking about God of War Ragnarok. And before we go ahead and dive more inside of our expectations and all that good stuff, who thinks that Cyberpunk Ragnarok is going to launch this year?
No.
You don't think it's going to launch this year?
That should. You know what? We don't need another disaster. Just let it go.
I think it might be holiday 2021. I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it back to 2022. Like, I feel like this year is going to be like a recovery year. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like this is just going to be a year when everything just starts to try to get back to normal, and then like we'll start to. Like 2022 is definitely not going to be normal either, but we're at least going to start to see at least a regular, release schedule for stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if it came out during the 2021 holiday season.
Mm-hmm. I think it will be pushed back to 2022 for one reason. At the end of this year, it's supposed to be Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. I think that's the main. I don't think it's gonna be pushed back because
they gotta push. They gotta spread that out.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, you don't want them to compete against each other.
Yeah, even though exactly. And I don't think that that's going to be the. I don't think that they're going to push it back because of complications for COVID. I don't think that that's going to be the thing. I think that they're going to push it back for marketing purposes. You have a lot of content that's coming out already. You have new IPs that's coming out for 2021 already. You have Kenna that's coming out. You have Destruction All-Stars that's supposed to be a free plus game. You got Resident Evil that's supposed to be out this year.
They're bringing back Destruction All-Stars?
Yeah. The Destruction.
Oh, I love that!
No, well, it's a new one. It's not PlayStation. Good. It's not PlayStation All-Stars. It's Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
Still, bring back PlayStation All Stars. I like that.
Yeah,
I had that for the Vita.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You borrowed the Vita, dang it.
but I think if they did that, like now, if they decided to have that be like be a September release for God of War and then a November release for Horizon, I think that'd be fantastic. But I think that ultimately they're going to push back. I think they're going to push back God of War until 2022 for that. And I also think another supporting factor that we have is that we haven't had in gameplay. You just saw the little cinematic symbols go around about Ragnarok. You heard Kratos talk, and that's the extent of it. That's all we know. And it did say 2021 inside the trailer, but dates are always subject to change, especially when you talk about video game development. So very curious there. This also gives you guys plenty of time if you guys are able to get your PS5 this year, which that's highly anticipated. And I feel like every single one of us by the end of 2021, I would assume have a PS5. But that also allows you guys to play through God of War on the PS5 if you don't have it already, because it's part of the PlayStation Plus collection. So it's a free download, which is always a plus.
Let's be playing Miles Morales.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up.
I don't want to play it on the PlayStation 4. I just don't.
I feel you.
I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to just break and just say, give me now. Give me now. I'm just like, no. I gotta have it for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, and that's the same. I feel like those games are in that weird position. Now, granted, I'm in a blessed position to where I can choose one or the other, but I feel like for a lot of those games that are coming, like Horizon Forbidden West, it's going to be on the PS4 as well. There's no way in heck I am playing that game on the PS4. Even if I didn't have a PS5, no way in heck I'm playing on the PS4. I'll wait till I get that on the PS5. Like you know that those features are going to be amazing on there. I experienced it with just the sports games, with just FIFA and Madden. Literally, like they're cool. The way that they are, just normal, just feels like the other games. When you upgraded them both to the PS5 version, you feel that difference. You see that graphical fidelity. It's all different, and it feels really good. So yeah, I would highly recommend anything that's supposed to be teeter-tottering that brink. Just get it for the PS5. Unless you really can't wait, then get it for the PS4 and then upgrade to the PS5.
I feel like it should be 2022, and I'm hoping it's 2022. I feel like with God of War, it should be probably one of the definitive PS5 games. And don't try to go back and forward on it. I feel like this one should be made for the PS5. It should be tailored and specifically made, and you'll end up in the end with a better game than trying to make a version for the PS4, PS5. I know they're going to probably make it a PS4 version, but I feel like in order to make a game probably of that scale and magnitude, they're going to have to, I don't know, cut corners on certain things or shut certain things down, because to be honest, like they say, the newer consoles have SSDs, and now they're beginning finally, because we've had SSDs on PCs for a while. The biggest thing is that the consoles never did, and so they never built the games around them. The newer games are now being built around the SSDs, which means they're going to be loading a lot of stuff faster, which means they're going to be putting more information into games, which means your older consoles like PS4 and stuff like that will have probably longer load times if you try to go that route.
100%.
So it should just be PS5.
Since you brought that up, I have a new question, because whenever there is a new console generation that launches, there's always that time. There's always like that honeymoon time afterwards where like they're just like, okay, we're going to give the games to both of you guys. But like eventually they just like there's going to be a huge title that comes out and they're like, no, it's only for this new game.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a really good point that you made, where they're making a lot of these newer games around the SSDs. Do you think we're going to see a shorter honeymoon period where they're making it for both games, or do you still think it's going to be like the 2 to 3 years?
I think it's going
to still be 2.
I think it's going to be 2 to 3 years. And I say that for one reason. The way that these scalpers are clearing out house, you don't want to make exclusive games for the PS5 and no one has a PS5. You know what I mean? So I think that's one core reason. But also, you said COVID?
Yeah, it's still playing a role.
Yeah, that's also playing a role. But I also think though that you have 14 million, maybe more PS4s out there. Almost every single person has a PS4. If they don't have any console period, if they only have one console, chances are it's probably a PS4. If they have 2 consoles, it's going to be an Xbox and a PS4. If they have 3, they're going to have the Nintendo Switch with that as well. Chances are you want to make sure you are still making money, even if it's just transitional money. You want to make sure you're still making money on those last-gen consoles. So I think that at least for the next 2 to 3 years is when they're going to be starting to phase out the PS4 games. But also on top of that, they just recently announced, actually I just heard this on KFGD today, they're going to stop making PS4 Pros. It makes no sense to have a PS4 Pro be the same price as a PS5 digital.
You got a point there.
You know? And the PS5 digital is obviously better than the PS4. It's 1 terabyte just like the PS4 Pro.
But is it better than a KFC console?
So, story number 3. We're going to talk about that. Story number 3, plus we got games, and It's the Nine Ball also has a little bit of chiming in for the Xbox Gold section of that. Haley Williams from GameSpot says the first batch of PlayStation Plus freebies for 2021 goes live tomorrow, but it's actually today. Once again, you can claim 3 free games, including the PS5 title. This month, subscribers can pick up Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Greedfall on the PS4, as well as the Shark Simulator Man-Eater, which is free exclusively on the PS5. And that it also goes hand-in-hand with Bugsnax, which, if you guys are interested in that, there you go.
I want Man-Eater on my PlayStation 4. I want Man-Eater on my PlayStation 4, dang it.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to get all those games just added to my library, but I'm not going to actually start them just yet because I still have a backlog to get to, as we all do here at ALWT Gaming. It's the Nine Ball. Go ahead and throw out those gold games, man.
But an Xbox. And I don't know why they do it like this, but from January the 1st to the 15th, you have the chance to grab the King of Fighters 13.
Mm-hmm.
And from January 16th to the 31st, you have Breakdown. Also, from the 16th to February 15th, you have Dead Rising. And January 1st to the 31st, of the whole month, you can grab Little Nightmares.
All right. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't got... Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, of some of these, I'm gonna say Dead Rising is incredibly fun. It's a game where it's a zombie in a shopping mall, but it's basically a parody of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's extremely funny. Little Nightmares is a kind of horror game. If you're in a fighting game,
Great.
Little Nightmares
is great. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I think on this podcast we have the perfect person to play Little Nightmares. I think we have the perfect individual. I think we have I think we have someone, just the right person, who would want to go through and look at all of this nastiness.
Story number 4. Y'all are pros on this podcast, Thanks very much for that, Skill. Appreciate it. I was about to say, definitely a lot of free games out there, of course, this month. If you guys are on Xbox, make sure you guys are checking out those Little Nightmares and Dead Rising. And then you also said a third game that's coming out in some weird different time period. If you guys are on the PS4 section of it, make sure you guys check out Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Greedfall, which that's probably the one that I'm actually interested in right now. And then, of course, if you guys have PS5s, Man-Eater. You guys had the month to go ahead and pick that up. So you guys have until, what is this? You guys have until February 2nd to pick up these games before they go in rotation and new games come out. So be sure to take them up. The final story that we have right now is Living Our Best Fantasy. Austin King from Screen Rant. So not a GameSpot reporter. Screen Rant. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 and Final Fantasy 16 are both highly anticipated titles coming from Square Enix. But which Final Fantasy game will be released first? Both Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 are coming titles from Square Enix. The Final Fantasy franchise is enormously popular, and both games are highly anticipated by fans. Although officially release dates haven't been announced for either project, it seems likely both titles will be releasing in the near future. But will Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Remake Part 2 release first? Initially, it might seem like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will release first, since Square Enix is likely eager to keep the momentum from the first remake rolling, and fans excited to see where their sequel goes next. However, after the somewhat surprising announcement trailer for Final Fantasy 16, it was revealed that the game had already been in development for 4 years. Wow. Been in development for 4 years. Let that sink in. And will be coming out sooner than most fans thought. Wow. Okay. This quick. Sorry, that threw me off just now. This quickly led to a speculation that Final Fantasy 16, a PlayStation 5 exclusive, would arrive on Sony's new console in 2021. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? First and foremost, before we dive into this, because this is the last story of the topic today, what are you guys' thoughts? Which one's coming out first? Is it 7 Remake Part 2, which I'm anticipating that to be in 2022 2023 at the latest, but I think it's going to be 2022. Or do you guys think it's going to be Cyberpunk? Why keep going Cyberpunk? Final Fantasy 16. You know what I mean? Final Fantasy 16, which we only saw one time at the last PlayStation 5 event. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Talk to me.
To go with Final Fantasy 7. I believe after they launched the first one, when did the first one launch? It launched last year, right?
Last year. Yep, last year.
It may have already started cooking already. I'm anticipating them to probably launch between 2022 and 2023. I don't really see a Final Fantasy. If it's been cooking for, I would say, 4 years, they said it's been up there. That's not too surprising. Most of the time, before they release a trailer now, they do a good job of most times seeing where things are at and say how's this looking, because I don't want to say we got this ready and then it just drops off the map like some games. But I'm feeling 7. I like how 16 looks, but I'm feeling the 7 too, because you want to also keep the momentum going from 7 remake, since it's going pretty strong, and not to mention you've already got the base set up for it. Making the second part's not going to be as difficult as making the first part, because you've got the base, you got the engine, you've got the characters, you've got parts of it ready, and they've probably been working through the entire thing.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be the case, because now, granted, they were creative as heck for Final Fantasy VII Remake. They took, I will say this several times on this podcast, and it impresses me every time. They took what initially took you an hour and a half max play from an original game. It normally takes you an hour and a half to get out of Midgar. They took that hour and a half of content and extended it to 40 plus hours of gameplay, and it didn't feel dragged out. Maybe a few parts could have been a little bit better, and I'm talking a really few, but ultimately they made that game a mother freaking masterpiece. And now I trust the creativity, but now you're getting inside the open world. What is that going to look like? Not to mention, Unreal Engine is coming out this year. Unreal Engine 5.
Already out.
Well, it comes out. Yeah, it comes out this year. It comes out this year.
I'm thinking of the wrong engine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, granted, Square Enix don't use Unreal Engine. To my acknowledgement, they don't use Unreal Engine. But who's to say?
What engine do they use?
I know before on Final Fantasy 14 they used Crystal Light Engine. I don't know what they use for Final Fantasy 7 Remake or 15 for that matter, because they're practically the same. I'm pretty sure they have their own engine. But ultimately, though, who's to say that they're not going to make a better engine? Because one, there's 3 things that Final Fantasy is known for. Well, 4 things that Final Fantasies are known for. Their epic music, their extensive gameplay and amazing storytelling, their the lengthiness of their game, and how well the games look, the graphical fidelity of the whole thing. Those are the things that Final Fantasies are probably known for. It wasn't until just recently that now the fighting simulations, the fighting gameplay is starting to grasp onto that audience, because a lot of people had a problem with Final Fantasies because of the turn-based stuff. I was one of them.
Yeah, the ATB.
Yeah.
You didn't like the ATB?
I was one of them at first. I don't mind it now. I love it now. But yeah, but when I first played it, when I first attempted Final Fantasy VII, I was like, this game is garbage. I don't ever want to play it. I was so wrong on so many levels.
So the Final Fantasy VII Remake, they actually used Unreal Engine 4 for that one.
They did use Unreal Engine. Wow. So that's
what I'm finding. So they used Unreal Engine 4 for it.
That is.
But
let me see this thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, because what you were saying, I think that they might release 16 first.
Right there.
And then
Unreal Engine.
There it is.
Wow. Unreal Engine.
I have a feeling they're going to do 16 first, and then they're going to do part 2. And the reason I say that is because they have been hyping up this Final Fantasy VII Remake since I was definitely several years younger than I am now. I mean, didn't they have their first demo video of what it would look like for the PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a while. like you said, Nine Ball, I think they honestly have a lot more content that they've already cooked up that they're just letting it simmer and they're just putting the final touches on it. Which I definitely still think they're working on it, but I have a feeling that they're going to want to stretch out this game as much as they can. I have a feeling they're going to want to try to milk this as much as they can, and I am there for it. I will drink that milk, like turn it into ice cream, turn it into yogurt. I will take it. I want that milk. And I will say, like, at first, I was upset with how much content they were making for it. Where I'm just like, you guys have been in development for this for how long? Mm-hmm. And you only released, like, this much content for what was supposed to be an hour and a half? Like, come on. Like, I want to see more. I want to be able to do more. But with that said, like, if you look at the original game, that was what, 4 discs?
Like, 3 to 4.
Yeah, it was 3 for 7, 4 for 8.
Yeah, so it was a lot of discs. Especially like back in the day, like most games like would just fit on 1 CD. This game was so big that they had to fit it on 3 different CDs, and its sequel series, Final Fantasy VIII, on 4 discs.
Yep.
So I really wouldn't be surprised if they really tried to stretch this one out. Because if anything, it's kind of paying homage to how big the original game kind of was.
Exactly. Yeah, and I 100% echo that. 100% agree. I love everything about it. Here's what I think is going to happen. As much as I would love Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 to come out this year or 2022, early 2022, I don't think it's going to happen. I think 16 is going to happen first, and I say that for a few things. One, there hasn't been any confirmed news yet for Final Fantasy VII Remake as far as Part 2. So that's something that's going to be coming soon. They actually make an article about that. It's coming soon, but there's no confirmed information yet. But also, that like it's the Nine Ball said, that game came out last year. You want to let enough time breathe for PlayStation 4 owners to get it even more, especially if they want to wait. For PC players, for PC players to get it, it's like $30 right now. You want a steal? Yeah, that's a steal deal right there. For I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is actually coming to PC. So
I think it is. It's about confirmed, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming to PC this year. It's supposed to be coming to PC this year, if I'm not mistaken. And with that being said, you want to give those PC players also enough time to play through the game, because I beat the game in a week and a half, and I tell you, I woke up early to play the game. I went to bed late to play the game, consecutively each day. So it wasn't like a simple like I did this for a review and beat it in 6 days. No, I spent some time. I put in my hours. I was really trying to get through this game, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. And I very much cannot wait for me to go. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, now I'm just picturing that episode of South Park where they all play World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like I woke up early. I went to bed late.
Yeah.
I had a little poop pan that I just had sitting next to me. So
I need to stay and log in and only kill bored.
But yeah, I just think that ultimately, I think they did a really good job with the game, and if it's coming out for PC this year, don't let that be. Give it some time to breathe for the PC players to let this game sink in, because this is such a love letter to Advent Children, to Crisis Core, and to the original Final Fantasy VII, all in one game, which is really impressive. That's really impressive. I think that 16 should come out first, especially if it's already been in development for 4 years. I think 16 should come out first. I think they probably will come out first, and also that gives a little bit more suspense for 7 remake to come out, 7-2 part 2 to come out now. If 16 ends up being a flop, okay, we're sorry. We got 7 remake. That's what I think is going to happen. That's personally my theory about it. And I say that because when you think of Final Fantasy VII remake, that does have more of a cyber-ish punk futuristic feel to it. They have a lot of tech They have a lot of there's swords there, but then you also have Barrett with the gun arm.
It's kind of a steampunk vibe to it.
That's what I'm looking for a steampunk. That's what the type of vibe it has more of. It's more futuristic type.
Steampunk cyber.
Yeah, it's more of a futuristic take on it. You do have Shinra. You have more of the future type. That's what that Final Fantasy is. 16, complete opposite. It is the fantasy. You know what I mean? You have Joshua. You have whatever. They're riding on chocobos. It's the world of Final Fantasy 14. That's what they're in. So it's entirely different. Yeah.
Would you be opposed to some of these newer Final Fantasy games actually going back and then just being follow-ups to some of the original ones? For the original, because like when you look at the original Final Fantasy games, like I think it was the original, like, correct me if I'm wrong, first like 5 or so that were like just strictly like medieval fantasy world setting.
Yeah, they were.
So
7 was the first one that kind of took a different path.
So do you think this one is going to be in any way related to one of those original games?
No.
Oh no. Oh.
No. I think if anything,
it would be nice. I think it would be nice.
I think if anything,
it could be its original, its own story, but like I feel like if it connected to some of the other games in some way, like maybe like just kind of like maybe that's just
not Final Fantasy style.
Yeah. I think if
like
anything,
Final Fantasy.
Well, I was about to say, I think if anything, they'll just take a chapter of what they're doing for 7 Remake and just make the other remakes. Mm-hmm. So they might make the Final Fantasy 1 remake, but I mean that was a popular, Warrior Light. Like I think that would be pretty popular and stuff like that. But at the same time, how big is that in America? How big is that in other countries? To the point to where they can make a full-fledged remake on that. 7 was the reason why they started with 7. There's one core reason why they did. Well, 3 core reasons why they did. One, that was, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was the first game ever or it was the first game on PlayStation, but that was the first time they actually had those graphics that looked amazing for that time. Look nowadays, you look back at it.
The first 3-dimensional.
That's what it was. Yeah. And I
mean, same with Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That was their, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, like their first fully 3-dimensional world. Mm-hmm. Which I mean,
like Metal Gear Solid and stuff.
Yeah.
If you look at both of those games, like both of those games are held in very high regard.
Exactly, and that was a breaking point. Like that was a huge breaking point for Final Fantasies when they got to 7, and then they were able to take that information and bring it to 8, and then bring it to 9, and bring it to 10. There's a whole gap. There was years of content to where these Final Fantasy games were unstoppable. They were just absolutely breathtaking. 11 was the online game. They played with that a little bit. 12 was the first time they kind of flopped. You said what?
Had a fan base, and it was still going. I want to say, when did it stop? Because I know it
for
was
11?
going for a while.
For 11? Yeah. Well, 11 went on for a very long while. A lot longer than I thought it was going to go to.
Yeah, I believe it still had a fan base for a while. I would say that this year, last year, is when it finally stopped.
Well, I think it stopped. Actually, I think it stopped earlier than that, mainly because I keep saying Cyberpunk. Final Fantasy 14 started taking over. Welcome back there, Gamers Life. Always good to have you, man. But yeah, I think that's.
Sorry, your back hurts. That's skilled.
Yeah. He said, "Oh yeah, definitely get some icy hot on your back, man. Get some icy hot on there."
If you have one of those foam rollers, like those like really dense like foam rollers, use those. Those work wonders.
Yeah, definitely.
Still going. Final Fantasy 11. I'm seeing private servers.
See, okay. It's, you know what? The fans who are really dedicated and have private servers, like they're private. Yeah, there are private servers for the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 that they still have. Yeah. That it's nuts. Like
the
props to those people for actually
like that, because they have an Arc Rage server, which people play on now for the original Arc Age before they did all the monetization and stuff in there.
Yeah. Real fast, just want to give a shout out on over there for Gamers Life. Yeah, anytime thought I can support you guys and give you guys a follow, as you guys give me a follow back. Yes, again, appreciate you, man. Really do. What you just recently missed, all right, so the topics that we had was another point of view, which was talking about Cyberpunk 2077. I know you were kind of in and out at that point, but Cyberpunk 2077 had on PC has a third player mod that is out there right now. So if you have Cyberpunk 2077 on PC and you want to play in third person, you might want to check out those Nexus mods. Ragnarok, it's the end is nigh, which is really just talk about God of War Ragnarok that's coming here relatively soon. Very, very excited about that. PlayStation Plus games and Xbox Gold games, we talked about that, which on the PlayStation Plus side, it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Greedfall on PS4, Man-Eater on PS5. It's an eyeball. Can you tell them what's on Gold?
Games with Gold. It was Little Nightmares is coming out for the start of this month. And also King of Fighters 13. In the middle of the month, around January 16th, you're gonna get access to Dead Rising and Breakdown. Breakdown and Little Nightmares. Breakdown and Little Nightmares is gonna be for the rest of that month to the 31st. King of Fighters will only be there till the 15th. And Dead Rising will be there from the 16th to February 15th. I don't know why Xbox does that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird, but I guess.
And then the last topic that we were just closing out with just now was talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 and Final Fantasy 16, which is coming first. And it looks like the news is kind of surprising because we just found out recently through this article that Final Fantasy 16 has actually already been in development for the past 4 years. So since 2016, it's already been in development, which is a really well-kept secret. So that's huge. And then also Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I have the assumption, since it's going to be coming out for PC this year, I have the assumption that it's going to come out in 2022, unless Final Fantasy 16 comes out in 2022. Then it will probably come out in 2023. Because I think that would be... Go ahead.
I just thought of something, because to be honest, they're talking about... When does Horizon, the new part to Horizon, come out?
End of this year.
Okay, so it might, because Horizon Zero Dawn just launched on PC.
Yeah, well, last year, but yeah.
Yeah, middle of last.
Yeah.
But I want to say real bad that I'll see Final Fantasy jump out this year, but
I would love
to be
that.
honest,
and here's also another thing that also might make it happen this year. Yes, they said there's a bit of development for 4 years already. Yes, they showed us a trailer and some gameplay at the last PlayStation 5 event. But guess what they also announced that might give them the benefit of launching this year for 16?
Which one?
It is a console exclusive. It is not coming to Xbox. It's not coming to Nintendo. It's not going to Stadia. It's not going to Luna. It's not going to the KFC machine. It's not going to any of that. It's just staying on the PS5 on the console and maybe the PC later down the road. So with that being said, you don't have to worry about cross specs. You only have to worry about can it run on the PS5, can it run on PC? Yes, that's it.
It's not coming to Stadia.
It's not coming to Stadia. Console exclusive.
Why not Stadia?
Darn.
Why not the KFC machine? It needs a game.
Now,
Give it a game.
now surprisingly, again,
some chicken in.
Again, if you have Stadia, if you guys have Stadia, you guys might as well pick up Cyberpunk because apparently it runs really well on Stadia.
Yeah, they said it runs extremely well on Stadia for some reason.
So if you guys have Stadia, you guys want to pick up Cyberpunk. But as far as Final Fantasy 16, that's what I think would give it the edge of coming out this year. I think it still won't be until 2016, especially with the plethora of games that's coming out this year. Again, Kenna, Destruction All-Stars, Horizon Forbidden West. Anticipated, which I think will get pushed back, but anticipated would be friggin' God of War Ragnarok. You also have the Harry Potter game that's supposed to be coming out this year. You have a whole bunch of other games that's going to be coming out. Returnal comes out this year. Hitman 3 comes out this year. Yeah, there's so many different games that comes out this year, and I think that you don't really need to have a banger first party because you already have anticipated for Horizon Forbidden West to come out this year. I see what
you're saying, yeah.
So, yes.
You don't want to congest it.
Exactly. And now granted, last year they gave us Spider-Man, Miles Morales, they gave us Final Fantasy VII Remake, they gave us Ghost of Tsushima, So they gave us those titles in a banger of a year. Well, I'm talking about more or less exclusives.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So they gave us, because Horizon's exclusive, God of War's exclusive, Final Fantasy 16 exclusive. So yeah, so they can do that. They show that they're capable of doing that. I think last year was a banger of a year for exclusives on Sony, but I don't know if they want to keep on doing it in that particular formula. So we'll have to see. But yeah, guys, that actually wraps up the gaming news portion of ALWT Things Gaming episode 30. Earlier inside the chat, S-Killed had asked about computer specs and what builds you can go on as far as making a good PC. Before It's an Eyeball takes over that conversation and gives him a few little tips as far as what makes a good specs, as far as like what you want to have inside your tower, what monitors you get, what graphics card you want to have, SSDs, the whole nine. I want to let you guys know, if you guys are thirsty, go to repsports.com. Type in ALWT Gaming at checkout, getting your Raise Energy, get 15% off. ALWT Gaming, Raise Energy. It's pretty delicious. I tried to order mine earlier today. I'm going to restart my computer because I think it's actually my computer that's giving me the issue. But you can get your Grape Bubblegum, which is delicious. Grape Bubblegum, literally, it starts off, it tastes like those grape suckers that's in like the clear wrapper that doesn't have a label to it, and then the aftertaste tastes literally like one of those purple Big Chews. It is the greatest combination. Very delicious. That's Grape Bubblegum. They got Guava Mango. They got Galaxy Starburst. They got Sour Gummy Worms. They got all a really good list of games. A really good list of energy drinks. If you guys like energy drinks, and it has zero sugar. Does have caffeine in it. Ain't gonna lie to you, but it does have zero sugar and it tastes fantastic. If that's not up your alley, you guys can also get the workout powders. You guys can actually get the water supplements, the whole nine, and still type in ALWT. You guys can even get Raise Energy shirts and type in ALWT Gaming. Yeah, you get the ALWT Gaming at checkout. Get 15% off. Get yourself some merch. Get yourself some. S-Skill says, I'm getting thirsty now. I'm telling you, man, it quenches your thirst. It's quite delicious. It's pretty delicious. Gamer Life says, I know this is a little bit off topic, but what anime do you guys recommend? I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Watched Dr. Stone, been watching JoJo Bizarre Adventures. I'm planning on watching My Hero Academia, Sword Art Online, and another one I forgot. But any recommendations? First and foremost, Gamer's Life, love you for that question. Absolutely love you for that question. Me, every Sunday at noon, from noon until 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, me and Gravity Mark here, we go ahead and jump on the podcast doing all day anime. That's the name of our new segment. Episode 2 launches this coming Sunday. So if you want to check us talk about anime, where it's literally all day anime, we're going to be there talking about it. A few recommendations I will throw out to you would be, one, make sure you're checking out 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix if you haven't checked that out. That is a must-see anime. Rising of the Shield Hero.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Rising
Wonderful
of
series.
the Shield Hero. Make sure you're checking that out. I'm going to repeat it again because I'm going to kind of go through this a little quickly, so that way we can get to the spec talk and all that good stuff. So, Rising of the Shield Hero, 7 Deadly Sins,
Attack on Titan.
Attack on freaking Titan, man. It's going on right now. It's on Crunchyroll. Check it out. Attack on Titan. I wouldn't recommend One Piece.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
I wouldn't recommend One Piece S-Killed, not because it's bad. I know it's a good anime, but because it is really, really long. You are not going to finish that anime. If you're 20 right now, you're gonna finish that anime when you're 45 or 60. Yeah, it's way too long. So I would not recommend starting it right now. If you're not on the One Piece train from earlier, it's pretty much gone. You're 22. You're not gonna finish that anime until you're like 67. Like, just real talk. But yeah, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Attack on Titan, 7 Deadly Sins, Rising of the Shield Hero. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Don't sleep on that one. That one's a really fantastic one.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Promised Neverland.
Promised Neverland.
Soon.
Exactly.
Real good.
Yep. Promised Neverland. Haikyuu, if you like sports anime, and that's also one that you might not want to sleep on too as well. There's parts where it gets a little dry, character building, but I tell you, man, it gets great. And there's so much more that we can talk about as far as anime goes. Make sure you guys are checking in on this Sunday, noon to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. That is 12 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going down. We'll talk anime. You can submit your questions, and we have some stuff that we're going to talk about too as well. Spoiler free. We're going to have it this Sunday. We had a few spoilers this past Sunday, but we're going to be spoiler free for you guys because we want you guys to be involved as well. Mike is on you. It's the 9-ball. Tell him about them specs.
So the thing about PCs is basically this. It depends on what you're building. Like Malachi said earlier, it depends on what you're building and what you're building for. There's most of the time it breaks down to mainly 3 different types of computers. Either the low-end specs, the normal specs, and then you have like the enthusiast specs. These guys go for like top-end like PCs and stuff. Most of the time, you don't really need that. If it's your first build, I would say don't get an enthusiast build. As for processors, I believe they're tilting more and more towards AMDs. I have an Intel because I run an Intel 6600, but AMDs seem to be doing way better, and I'm actually thinking about my next build, probably an AMD build. RAM, I would say it's usually around 16 right now. You only need about 16 gigs of RAM. You really don't need 32 unless you're going, I would say probably 4 or 8K, around the 4 and 8K mark, which you really don't because there's not a lot of games yet that really support it yet. Make sure you have an SSD drive in it because more and more games are beginning to go into that direction. You might want to look at pre-builds other than basically 2 with the pre-build other than building your own, because to be honest, I've been watching certain channels like Cult of Mush and stuff, and we've been having huge problems. The same as the consoles, it's been a lot of scalping on graphics cards, where people are taking graphics cards, particularly the 30, I'm going to say the 30 series.
Yeah, the 3080 ones.
80s have been terrible to get.
Yep.
Even the other ones are terrible to get. Certain items, like I would probably say, like I said earlier, we're not going to go there because, like I said, you want to probably get a pre-build. Graphics card, I would probably say a 1660 or above.
You don't want to hold that thought real fast. Esko threw in there. I'm thinking about $600 to $700, and I'm also building my own if I'm going to get a PC.
Okay, 6,700. I should have said that first. Money does play a part. 600 to 700. I haven't really looked at spec costs yet, and that's gonna be the main thing. Right now it's gonna be a bit of a problem to get a graphics card. Mine, I run a GTX 1070 on mine. It would now be considered a lower end one. It still slaughters things. Do you want to go 1080 or are you trying to go above it?
Well, real fast. Again, pretending that he's a noob. I don't know if S-Killed is or not, but pretending he's a noob. What is a GTX 1070?
A 1070 is your graphics card.
I mean, like, what does GTX stand for? Like, what does the 1070 mean? You know what I mean?
1070 just is basically the name. It's the name of it. 1070 just tells you what kind of graphics card it is. A 1070 is probably when I play games normally, it does excellent around the 1080 mark. Games at 1080, it's going to do great. The only problem is it doesn't have ray tracing. The later series has ray tracing on them. 1070s came out before ray tracing.
And real fast, they talked a lot about ray tracing on the next gen consoles. And so I actually had to do research on my skills for ray tracing. But it's a 9-ball. Tell them what ray tracing is.
Ray tracing is when you shoot like a light from the. It would be easy to show you, but for example, if I was to put like a light source above me, it would shoot light and it would bounce off things, and it would calculate the amount of bounces. This can create things like reflections, like real-time reflections off items and stuff. and it makes it look far more realistic. However, it uses far more processing power. That's why older games won't have mirrors to where you can look through them and see, because that would require ray tracing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did that, it would just slow the thing to a crawl on your older computers and your older game consoles. What would you say is a good budget for a PC? 600 to 700 isn't bad. The only, like I said, the only main problem is basically it's going to be getting a graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
The graphic card market is horrible. From what I'm hearing from everybody, the graphics card market is horrible right now. Most people are saying to wait a little bit because the scalping and stuff, it's raising the prices of the older ones because most people can only get a hold of the older ones.
Yep.
Good channels to check out on that one would be, like I said, Cult of Mush is good. Also, Jay's 2 Cents. There's another one. I want to say it wasn't Project Science.
Also, just as he's checking that out, I also want to throw in there too as well. Maximilian dude has pretty good specs too as well. He's able to kind of chime in a little bit, so make sure you guys are checking him out on YouTube. Andy Cortez from Kind of Funny Games and Tim Geddes are huge tech heads, so they also have good stuff to talk about as well if you're following their personal channels. And then lastly, as far as more directly from home, I have myself a Predator gaming monitor that costs about $400. Absolutely love this thing. Make sure you do have yourself a good monitor. You don't want to have something that's back in the day.
Also a good thing, because I run an older HP, but that also will affect everything.
Yeah.
If you're going into gaming, do you want a mechanical keyboard or do you want a normal keyboard?
This thing
I hear a lot
costs $4. This thing costs $4 and it works perfectly fine. Even has a little power off button on it.
Because I run like a and also you gotta, most time it depends. Most people you probably just get like that in the standard mouse. I run a pretty much a gaming mouse, but I run mine for MMORPGs because I play a lot of MMOs. So
yeah.
Mine actually runs like that, plus it runs 12 buttons on the side, plus another trigger button on the top, plus another 2, like the 2 normal ones, the 2 right there for the sensitivity, and a multi thing where I can change the colors and stuff on there.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out what you want to do, what you want to play, how you want to play it.
Yeah, as besides now you're looking at that. He says, "What's the difference?" Yeah, for the gaming mouses, you can hotkey.
It's sensitivity. Yeah, it's mainly for sensitivity.
Yeah.
If you're going serious, like if you're just playing around just to play, just get a normal keyboard. I would get a normal keyboard and mouse for now. Your first build you're in a good range, 600-700. Power supply, it depends on what you're getting. Usually most people will hit around 600, between 600-700 watts, but I would have to see most of the specs. Like I said, I would check out some of those channels and also start shopping online. And you also want to, another tip is when you get your processor, just get a normal processor for now. Don't bother overclocking it because, like I said, it's your first build. I wouldn't play with that yet. Yeah. You're gonna have to check your pins.
Pretend that you don't know what overclocking is.
Yeah, just you gotta also check your pins on there as well. Right. In keyboards thing, like I said, with the keyboard stuff, it's not a big deal. I really wouldn't focus on that. I wouldn't focus on the keyboard, mouse, or anything. Right now, you want to get just your basic setup. I would probably get, what's a good one? I'm not real familiar with AMD. See, this was this part. I have an 6600K processor in mine for Intel. You're probably going to get a 7800. I would probably get, for entry level, I would need to. I have to look all this up.
Well, let's go ahead. Yeah, I was about to say, let's go ahead and do this because we actually only got like roughly a minute
couple
left.
Minutes.
Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead. If you don't mind, if you have some time to do so, especially if $600, $700 is going to be like $10,000 for where you're at there, SKL. Jeez. But anyway, yeah, that's what he just sends out the chat. But anyway, what Nine Ball can do if he has the time and is able to, what Nine Ball will do is just pretending from the ground up he's building himself a gaming PC.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it.
He'll get all the parts down, find it on Amazon, whatever, and then we'll bring it to you next show that we're on together for ALWT Things Gaming, so that we have an idea of what to look for. The only thing I would ask you to do is if you're not following my Nine Ball already on social media, whether it's Instagram or whether it's on his Twitch channel, you might want to make sure you follow him, and then you can even message him some of the games that you want to play.
Yeah, I really have to see. Yeah, it's really a problem because I really have to see what you want to play. I've seen I just watched something about gaming myths, and a lot of people, they talked about that, especially on Jay's 2 cents. He says he's seen so many people, they overspend. They get like this expensive $1,000, $2,000 computer and playing World of Warcraft and League of Legends on it.
Right? Yeah.
Why are you doing that? If you're not going to play like a high-end game, you don't really need a super... Okay, he said Discord.
Well, that was for Gamers Life. Gamers Life said that. Oh, which kind of goes back to rewinding just real fast. Gamers Cord, yeah, you have your anime night on Discord servers. That is awesome. Definitely keep that going. If you in the Discord fam wants to go and check out our podcast All Day Anime on Sunday, you guys are more than welcome to. We will have a conversation about animes because everyone in ALWT Gaming for the most part actually love animes and even different types. But I think that that right now, just starting off, we're gonna just pilot it with me and Gravity for a little bit, and then eventually we're gonna start bringing others in too as well, so that way we have time to talk about the animes we love. I thought you guys have a Discord server and a command. Yeah, no, we don't have a Discord server yet. Right now we're just piloting just on Twitch, just doing it live. Just kind of like we're doing right now. Again, people are welcome to chime in and all that good stuff and type in, and we answer all the questions. We give our thoughts, we give our theories, we give our predictions, the whole nine. We talk about new animes that's coming out in 2021, new animes that's coming out in 2022. Demon Slayer is also another good one. I know we got done with the suggestions, but the movie came out this past October in Japan, did absolutely amazing, outsold the Titanic, the whole nine, and then yeah, they outsold the Titanic. It's crazy. but yeah, the whole nine. And now I just can't wait for that anime to come here in 2021. The movie portion of it, because it's going to continue this year. It's all good. Makes sense. Followed you guys on Instagram. At least, yeah. So ALWT Gaming on Instagram. ALWT Gaming everywhere you guys can find us. Appreciate you following us. I think we're following you too as well, actually. I have to double check that on the page, on the team page. But yeah, appreciate the love, appreciate the support. S-Guild says, if I get a PC like Siege, it's like Siege and Call of Duty, first person shooter, stuff like that. You actually don't really need a whole lot with those types of games. You really don't, which is you really want to do more research and to figure out what you want to exactly what you want, and you want to look at the specs of the games you want to get. Yeah,
like you really got to check out how far are you trying to go for? How powerful are you trying to go? Really, is the question. That's the big question. Like, how much buddy do you want to put in there? Because you get up a lot of buddy, and I've heard people going 3-4K. I'm not dropping 3-4K into mine, but I've heard people dropping that much.
And only playing solitaire.
Yeah. And how powerful are you trying to, like, I've heard people playing Doom in 8K. You trying to hit 8K. Some people even jump up to 16K. But how powerful are you trying to go? Those are the two main questions, and we want to start there, actually.
Yep. And how fast do you want your times to be? Because load times, load times, receiving all of that is a factor.
I would say basically in almost any build, you're going to have to put an SSD in.
Yep. SSDs
are not that expensive, so you don't need to start with an NVMe. I would probably start with maybe a standard SSD. I seen you can get like some as low as like 40, 50 for like a 240 gig. or you can go up to a 1 terabyte. I think that's not that expensive. Let me look real quick. Check Amazon. Try to look for sales too, because I know usually Black Friday is when I pick mine up. Most time, if I want to pick something up.
This will be a good time too as well because new tech came out, so a lot of those previous last gen techs are going to be a little bit lower in price. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of them.
You said what?
I said, are you trying to run Crisis? Because
Go ahead.
Next time we need. Next time we need to talk about that. What kind of specs would you suggest for Crisis on max specs?
I just want to be able to play and maybe also stream. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah. So we'll go ahead and Nine Ball will go ahead and get a list of games that he typically would play, and maybe not the games itself, but give you the specs that can handle those types of games, and that will probably be a good starter point for you.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Let me pull some up, but I'm also talk to Mildery because he's coming by AMD expert. Mildery does mainly the AMD stuff, which I'm saying is best to go AMD because almost all consoles use AMD processors. And since that's always been a thing, AMD is basically now turning into, but the Ryzen series coming out has turned into the huge juggernaut for gaming. It's been just cleaning up house lately. It's a lot cheaper to go AMD than Intel, especially since you're starting off and you want one at a good budget. Mm-hmm. So I would probably start there with an AMD processor, and you have to get the motherboard to match it, but you want to get the right one. So we're going to look into this and want to come back and see what we can find out.
Yeah. There you go. 9 Ball corner pocket. Didn't even scratch. You know what I mean? So that actually does it here for us here. We're just a little bit over, but better than we have been. So that's definitely what's up. Do you guys have any closing statements before we dip on out?
I wanted to say one thing. It looks like those custom skins for Ghost of Tsushima Legends are only available through January 15th. So if you haven't gotten those exclusive skins for Ghost of Tsushima Legends, definitely get those by then. Yeah. You have 10 days.
Yeah, because got until next Friday. you got 10 days. What about you there, Nine Ball?
How do you get those skins? You just go into Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just have to Legends. You just make sure that you
did the challenges.
The way the Buckeye and I did it, we just finished story missions.
Yeah.
And as soon as we finished it, we got it for whatever class we were running.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, stay safe with COVID out there. We need everybody to play games, chill at home. If you don't have to be out, don't be out. It's a mess right now with that stuff. And it's getting worse and worse, and it's been getting crazier and crazier. So stay safe and just stay in the house if you can.
Wise words. And yes, I wholeheartedly echo that and agree with that. Guys, thank you very much again for tuning in. This coming Thursday, we have Smite Night with the ALWT Cast. This Friday's going to be free streams. Saturday's going to be free streams. This Sunday, we have all-day anime with me and Gravity Mark from noon until 1:30 p.m. And then next Tuesday, we're right back at it with a bad habit with us here at ALWT Things Gaming episode 31. We also have some pretty interesting and great news that's we're going to be coming for you guys. We're doing some new huge things this year. We really are. We're going to do some continued giveaways. We already had Cyberpunk 2077 winners, which unfortunately was somewhat of a bust, but on CD Projekt Red side, we have some ALWT hoodies and shirt giveaways, and we're going to continue to do all that this year, plus more. Yep, there you go. Gravity Mark II is already sporting it up. Go ahead and give it a little spin around. Show him what the back looks like. Now, his back is going to look different than yours if you guys decide to go ahead and get it, because he's part of the ALWT cast. But you guys on the back would have the barcode that will say, "At least we tried gaming." Yep. Bars all day. So if you guys are trying to check that out, here soon we're going to get ahead and get the store ready on our Twitch channel, so you guys can go ahead and buy that. But if you guys want to get early access to that, you guys can actually go to our patreon.com, which is patreon.com/ALWT Gaming. Subscribe there, and that shirt cost and hoodie cost is actually included inside the Patreon membership. So you guys are welcome to go ahead and get your shirt that way if you guys don't want to wait and just get yours a little quicker. Otherwise, you guys can wait until we have the store fully upload and blown. But we have some, I can't say enough how much amazing stuff we're going to be having in 2021 and what we're going to be ending up doing for this year. So Be on the lookout for all of that. Some stuff you guys don't want to miss. Until next time, everybody, Control, Alt,
Complete.
Complete.
Peace, love, and hair grease, guys. Take it easy.